Now I got this old school underworld here, and this was generated at davesmapper.com. So if you're interested in dungeon crawl type environments and you need one on the fly, well, he's got an infinite one right there in his website. The colored Cursed Pestilence and Crawl Space Tunnels, those are just labels that I put on the underworld, and I grabbed those from Fantasy OSR. And I'm going to play here Zen Fantasy 2-page role play, but I'm going to play it more in a dungeon crawl type of setting, and we'll see how that goes. Now, unlike the other narratives I've done, I'm going to try to keep this in third person. Now, I typically play in third person. I find it easier to be a third person omniscient narrator for the adventures, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm also going to take Duquesne and Bolt and Tantalus in, 3 characters. I could play this solo, but if I was playing it solo, I would have to reduce the threats, I believe, and I would have to probably play it more of a staged arc of a quest to have more individual dialogue and a chance to bring back my my destined modifier. But this, I'm just going to sort of third-person dungeon crawl using the mechanics of Zen 2-page roleplay. Should we try it? Sure, why not? So, this would be a typical underworld. This probably right here would be a sandstone, something that you could carve out as you went along. Maybe Duquesne would watch this approach as he would send a Bolt down here. Now, Bolt would then report, well, the stone has changed. This looks like more of a brick type of stone or a packed clay. And Tantalus might come and take a look at it and say, the danger here is the fact that where the other sandstone is very easy to dig, it's hard to make any sort of founded walls of any depth. But Tantalus would advise that there's probably a pitfall somewhere up ahead. So we're going to let Bolt come up here and see if he can make do anything to detect that pitfall. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to roll. Now my gadgeteer is 2 dice 6. That would be the quintessential thief type character in original Dungeons and Dragons. And here comes my roll. Now I've got a 2 and a 6. A 2 and a 6 has performed the critical deed to quest continuance. And so he has discovered the pitfall. And in this case, usually if you could discover a pitfall, you can get past it. Whether you board it up or do something, delver to eliminate it. We might even back up here and say, well, if we can't cross that pit, we would go this way. But I don't think it would typically here need another roll. If we need to get by, we can get by it. Now, we probably would reason that pitfalls usually guard something. So we would head past the pitfall. 3 characters moving, OSR. Again, I'm going to use third-person narrative. And Duquesne thinks he hears something, so he's going to go down past the brick and clay walls, and he'll sniff a little bit and say, there's some killing to be done up ahead. Let's grab some characters here. Here's some good characters. And here's some good monster-type characters. I'm going to put 3 of them. Oh, a D6. A lot of this game would be D6. And there's 6 of them. Well, 6 of them when it rains it pours. The old Morgan Salt advertisement. And here comes 6 goblins come rushing out to kill me. And these could be trolls, or these could be, I would usually and even in a freestyle game, I would have the players describe what is attacking them and give them a chance to add their interaction story. And I'm going to just call these atypical, dungeon type of monsters. If I was for someone like Duquesne, who's had many adventures, he would probably be attacked by 6 ogres. But the 6 is we're going to treat them as minor enemies. And I would go over to Duquesne, and Duquesne would then slash, and he would try to kill the first 2 that come at him as one roll. And I, as a referee, would probably say, well, let's kill them one at a time and give everyone something a chance to do. And the player would probably say, okay. So the player would make a roll on combat, and he'd be adding one to his dice, a 4. He would kill a lowly minion. Are there any left? Of course, there's minions left. Kill 1. And then Bolt would fire his bow. Now, Bolt is a gadgeteer. He would roll 2 d6 and take the lower. Should he risk it? Well, he's at that +1 to his dice roll, so he's not really going to ever get vicious. Well, never. It would be unlikely that he's going to get viciously wounded, because even if he gets snake eyes, it would become 2. And we'll let Bolt fire his bow. And that 32 means he's got a 2, becomes a 3. He's going to flat out miss spectacularly and also lose his destined status. So the other party members are screaming at him, saying, you know, learn your role in the game here. There was no reason for you to make that roll. And he's pouting for a bit. And then probably Tantalus would, you know, fireball the room and try to kill them all. And I said, well, you know, let's not assume it's just 5. Let's add the scale and make it, you know, like 5,000. So you can kill one creature, and it'd be equivalent of 1,000 of them that you killed with your fireball. And that usually then satisfies the players. And he's going to roll on magic, and he'll roll 2 dice there. And he rolls a 6 and a 1, so yes, he would kill a critical monster. And a critical monster or cross an obstacle, and he easily did that. So we take 1 more off. Now, we don't need to have these guys attack back. This is not OSR. This is not Dungeons & Dragons. This is not most games that I know of where the referee's an antagonist. That's why you can play any of these systems solo as well. The referee is there simply as a moderator to make decisions and also to add his own narrative to keep a lot of this stuff secret, because it's actually more interesting to play when you don't know what's coming ahead, of course. And so we would go right back to Duquesne, and Duquesne rolling on the character. I'm going to roll 2 dice for Duquesne in combat. He still has his advantage. Ooh, that's an ugly low roll. A flat-out miss, and Duquesne has lost his destined status as well. And I can see why I played with 3 characters, because I'm probably going to have another death. This would be what? Duquesne's 4th death, and Bolt's 4th death. Tantalus, 0 for 1 on deaths. And then Tantalus would make his a magic attack, and we would roll, and he gets 4. Now, he's altered the cosmos and get everyone 3 dice 6. Now, that 3 dice 6 would mean that the Gadgeteer would roll 3 dice 6, minusing 1 from each. Or I should say 3 dice 6 and taking lower. That's actually a disadvantage on combat. But we can also do something and anything, and perhaps Bolt in the back will ready a net, and that net can be thrown over the remaining goblins, and maybe it would get our destined status back. And that would be something that, you know, that would be a critical deed to quest continuance. So he's going to try to get his own destined status back, or he'll get it back for Duquesne, who's lost it. 2 dice. A 1 and a 6. You don't count the 1. You only count the highest of the 2 dice. If the 2 dice were to generate results that the lower one is better than the upper one, which is the case sometimes on Do Something Anything, you still take the highest of the pair. But that would give the Duquesne back his destined status, and that's good for play. And we go into Tantalus. Tantalus is using his magic again to attack the group. And I roll for Tantalus, and Tantalus rolls his 2 dice, and he rolled a 4 and a 2. Now he gets a +1, and he's added the respite to his abilities, which means that if he should, in this battle, if he should roll a result of a 5 again, he treats a 6. It's more of a delay built into the tables. And we go right back around the table. Duquesne rolling now with advantage 2 dice. And he rolled a 2 and a 5, which gives him a 6. It would slay a great monster. I could really just, since in the interest of moving on with the activities here to give a little bit more demonstration of what's going on, I will say that great attack has actually, combined with the net, has killed the ambush. And from here I can move on. Bolt would scout ahead. He said, we got a treasure chest. Don't touch it yet. And Tantalus would use his magic and sort of look at the insides of the treasure chest to see if it's worth even messing with. It's a good Delver tactic. And here comes the dice. A 4 and a 5 becomes a 6. So he would make a critical insight on that chest. And so with that critical insight, he would know that, yes, it's not trapped. I think we should break it open because loot be loot. So Duquesne comes up, and I'm going to treat that as an attack in combat, since we know we don't have to finagle the lock open or worry about springing a trap or touching a poisoned hasp. He can just come under it, sunder it. So here comes Duquesne with his 2-handed sword. Oh, it's a terrible roll, and it results in a flat-out miss, and he lost his destined status again. And behind him comes Squire Bolt, and Squire Bolt will just pick the lock with 2 dice, and 2 dice of 5. He doesn't have the +1. The 5 is a guess, but it's a risk. So he doesn't have the lock open as well. I'd be back over to with Tantalus. Now Tantalus can roll on the Do Something table and maybe try to either, with a critical deed, restore Duquesne's or Bolt's status as being destined. And it's probably worth doing at least once, since he's +1 to the roll. Let's see if I can get that. A 3 plus a 3 is going to be a result of a 2, which means select any magic results for your outcome. So let's go ahead and pick that 3 dice 6 outcome in Altering the Cosmos. It's a handy one to have. He's trying to add that modifier so that we can bring right back into the situation, bring Squire Bolt. Squire Bolt's going to roll 3 dice to restore Duquesne's destined status. And here it comes. There's no addition to that roll, but that 6 right there will do it. So, and then up comes Duquesne with his 2 dice in combat to smash it open. And at least it's a 4. And he does a good spark flying event on that chest trying to open it up, but nope, no luck. It's not open. And back to Tantalus, and Tantalus says, "Hey, you know, I've risked enough already. I'm not gonna roll 1 die in combat here. I'm not gonna roll 2 dice and take the worst. Try to restore things again. I could try to just use my magic to open the chest. I will pass. Now, the only thing is, all 3 player characters cannot pass in a single round. If that happens, the referee should redefine the scene, bring extra monsters in, make the lock even more, make it a mimic, and make the chest actually come alive and attack them." All those typical dungeon trope type activities. We're back around now with Squire Bolt. Squire Bolt would like to get his own destined status going again. He's going to roll 3 dice. We're still under that Alter Cosmos situation. Perfect time to roll 3 dice and try to get himself a 6. But the best roll he made was a 3, and this time he took a minor injury. Now he could still try to roll again if Duquesne doesn't sunder the box and open it up. But that second minor industry could kill him in this adventure, and sometimes you just want to be patient, because if he can get through this encounter, it's going to be gone. That injury, he can patch it up. So it's all up to Duquesne whether that box is going to be open, and he finally rolls a 4 and a 2. A 4 and a 2 is going to be a result of 5, slay a critical monster to progress the quest. The referee can probably say, well, there's no such thing really as a great chest. You could have a chest that's very complicated, but not really a great chest. So we opened up that treasure and we got our first loot. I'm going to grab a couple items here, just so they're fun. I got some gold here. I'm just going to leave it here with the treasure chest. We can pick it up on the way out. Now the group would have to come down this crawl space tunnels that connect in odd situations, and Duquesne will push his squire aside, and he'll go forward. Maybe he'll sheath that 2-handed sword of his and fashion some sort of have his dagger out in front, or if he brought a boar pike to handle this. Now there's an ambush in these tunnels, but I think it's on the tunnel that connects the one from the north to the one to the west. And he comes out and he says, "Tantalus, crawl on through. There's a scroll here." That was dangerously close to being a first-person narrative, but dialogue, some people think I don't like role-playing and having one-on-one conversations in character. No, that's not true. I usually, as a referee, I respond back. If somebody is playing first-person narrative, I don't want to insult them. I go back into first-person narrative myself, and I have started many adventures with first-person narratives, playing the patron, especially if I can use a really silly voice to get people's attention, and focus the characters. In convention to play, you definitely needed to focus your characters. Bolt is going, "Should we drag the gold behind?" No, leave it. If we win, we win. And so there's a scroll up here. Tantalus would look at the scroll. Now when he looks at the scroll, he may use magic to try to augury the scroll. And then the scroll could count as some sort of saga fantasy +1 short-lived relic. And so that would be really good to just sort of add one to the party. And then with destined status, you can either, as a referee, say, well, +1 is the max, because I don't want you guys just waltz through all my effort here. Or you can say it's +2 if you can. But he has to first make that roll. It's 2 dice on magic to figure out what with the critical insight is what I'm looking for, and what the scroll is. 41 becomes a 51. Well, he takes a respite and he's thinking about it. Now, while he's thinking about it, I go over to Duquesne. Duquesne is smart enough to just pass. But Squire Bolt says, "Nope, I don't have my critical, I'm going to try a critical deed to both pick up the scroll to see if it would hurt me, and also regain my destined status." And here comes the 2 dice from him, a 5 and a 5. It's a guess. It's a risk, and it certainly was a risk. And it did not result in him understanding or having the scroll. Maybe it shocked him, but not enough to be damaged. But if he takes that result again, he would be wounded. So he steps back and says, "No, I'm Magic Man, you can handle it." And then we'll roll again. And that 5, which becomes a 6 because Tantalus is destined, but even if he wasn't, that respite happening a second time would mean that Tantalus now has a scroll. So with that scroll, we're saying that somebody gets a +1 back. For the sake of the argument, I'll just restore the destined status for the whole team. Now, I've given you a little taste of this. I don't want to play the whole thing out, even though I'm actually having fun. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off here, but you can see that I can move through. I already demonstrated how combat might work. I can move through and deal with this trap of dispelling magic. I could try to sense the secret doors here. I could, if I can make my way all the way around. Wow, is there any way to get down in there? I'm going to have to break that down. I think you got to get all the way to here and back. Boy, this is a nice convoluted map. It'll take a long time to get it. And then you have this tentacles here inside of the cave with the water, and I put a nice scary monster there. And now I have some undead down here at the bottom that you can make a discovery on. And again, all I did was I'm taking some of the mechanics of Fantasy OSR, but combining them with the type of storytelling and the type of interplay that you get with Zen Fantasy. Now, why did I write Zen Fantasy? Well, one, I think there's a need for it, but more to that point, I've seen way too many, shall we call them cosplayers, playing storyteller type of games and pretending that there's some sort of rules involved with it. Now, there's nothing wrong with telling a story collectively as a group, but if you're calling it role play, it has the connotation of a role play game. And what I'd like to see is people bring that gaming aspect out a little bit. Now, I've watched online the videos with people complaining about dungeon masters who will not role play and have complained about the fact that they don't have enough immersive elements to the thing. But if all they really want to do is collectively sit around on the couch and tell a story, they can do that. But if they're actually gaming, it should include dice, and it should include resolution for those dice. And with something like this, with 2-page role play, nobody can complain that this game is too complicated. And there's enough here for the referee to make it interesting time and time again, whether you play solo, co-op, or with a referee trying to make a full-blown quest like this right here. And more later.